This summer, the tensions are back with more protests. Earlier this week, locals in Spain have been shooting water guns at visitors.
A major political crisis continues to unfold in Spain.
Europe has long been a popular destination for Americans, and it shows no signs of slowing down. But in some hotspots, locals are saying enough already, and they're taking their outrage to the streets.
One of the biggest ones is the shortage of funds. Fighting a crisis means shelling out money. But what if you have the money and don't know how to spend it? Spain is facing this one-of-a-kind challenge.
But the immigration crisis is really rocking all parts of Europe. A town in southern Spain has been gripped by riots between anti-immigration Spanish people and quite a lot of North African migrants in the area.
10 years ago, a graduate could land in Madrid or Barcelona, share a flat for a year, save a little, and trust the city would make room. That faith has thinned. What is surprising is headline metrics still look healthy. GDP growth, lower unemployment, yet teachers, nurses, junior engineers, hospitality staff, and creatives are reorganizing their lives around housing that no longer bends toward local wages. Watch how Spain is quietly pricing out the people who animate its streets. In 2015, the mean gross salary was about 23,100 euros. By 2025, it's roughly 31,600 euros, while the median sits several thousand lower. A one-third mean rise sounds acceptable until you set it against cumulative asking rent jumps in leading metros like Madrid, Barcelona, Balearic, and Malaga hotspots that various listing indices place in the 60 to 70% band over the same span. Wages trace a slope, core area rents lurch. A typical full-time metro worker taking home 2,000 to 2,200 euros faces a central one-bed advertised at 1,000 to 1,300 euros and baseline non-housing costs above 700 euros. In the single earner renting alone in a prime zone scenario, 55 to 65% of net pay disappears immediately. Add a modest rent bump, plus transport and health costs, and the burden often breaches the mid-60s. That scenario, increasingly common among young professionals, erodes the margin where resilience should live. And it tightens further once you factor in what inflation has done to real pay and building costs. So, nominal wages also rose, but once recent price increases are stripped out, real gains are slim. Everyday costs, food, energy, transport, have eaten what might have become savings. Meanwhile, construction and renovation inputs spiked, delaying or canceling projects and thinning the pipeline. Landlords still face higher maintenance, community fees and insurance even as headline inflation cools, so renewals creep upward. Crucially, cumulative metro rent growth has outrun general prices by a wide margin, showing this isn't just inflation, but inflation amplifying an already tight, incentive-driven market. Now Spain's statutory minimum wage, SMI, normalizes to about 1,184 euros per month over 14 payments, which equates to 1,381 euros, if viewed across 12 payments. Roughly 2.5 million workers cluster near it. A 300,000 euro purchase price, typical for modest apartments in many urban districts, requires roughly 60,000 euros up front, down payment plus taxes and fees. Saving 300 euros a month, already ambitious at current SMI, means 16 to 17 years just to assemble the entry stake, assuming flat nominal prices, which history rarely grants. Instead of one anecdote, think of a typical young professional in a major metro. Net pay around 1,900 to 2,000 euros, sharing a mid-size flat because a sole lease on a central one-bed at 1,000 to 1,300 euros would swallow over half that net income before utilities or transit. After basic costs, the future line item, savings for deposit, moving, or family formation, shrinks to a slim two-digit residue in many months. One irregular expense, health, travel, appliance failure, and that residue dissolves. Multiply this pattern thousands of times and you see why personal timelines, moving out alone, partnering, having children, slide from near-term intentions into open-ended clauses. Those sliding timelines often end in quiet exits, Most displacement isn't a court drama, it's households reading the renewal projection early and leaving invisible evictions. Local surveys in Madrid and Barcelona show a substantial share of recent tenant moves driven chiefly by rent pressure. Forecasts entering 2025 still anticipated a further mid-single to low double-digit push in stressed hubs, propelled less by wage momentum than by capital inflows.
But Spain's relationship with tourism seems to be at a tipping point. A backlash has started as the country counts the cost of an industry which has been so lucrative. Popular holiday destinations like the Canary Islands and the Balearics have seen protests by local people.
Tourism demand and structurally tight listings. Each outward ripple reprices the next band. Affordability becomes a pursuit more than possession. Track the pressure upstream, and you meet mismatched bidding power. Roughly 1 in 5 recent purchases nationwide involves a foreign buyer. A Northern European pension or remote tech salary at 2,500 to 3,000 euros net doesn't haggle with a local nurse's pay. It calmly resets the local ceiling. And tourism adds to the pressure. Thousands of flats repositioned as higher yield short stays. Entire stairwells rotate weekly. If you tighten rules in one busy area, the listings just move to the next area or to looser platforms. Even if foreign buyers stop growing, the way the market is set up still limits the number of homes available for long-term renting. And beyond what's being rented, a lot of existing housing isn't truly in the year-round pool.
Solution today to our housing supply shortage. Spain has ordered Airbnb to pull down more than 65,000 listings for holiday rentals, partly to try and free up property stock.
A hidden drag is housing that exists but is functionally absent. Large shares of coastal and island stock sit as second homes, investment holds, or are occupied only a few peak weeks. In tourist belts, a stairwell can be split between short stays, occasional owner visits, and units kept empty awaiting a higher resale band. These properties still influence price expectations while supplying almost no year-round stability. Fewer genuine long leases mean newcomers chase a thinner pool, letting high asking rents in prime pockets become the reference point for broader areas. Then you look at how hard it is to get new buildings approved, and the picture gets worse. Even when developers want to add mid-priced units, layered friction slows or shrinks delivery, fragmented municipal zoning, lengthy environmental and heritage reviews, utility connection delays, plus rising land bids around transit nodes. Meanwhile, material and labor costs jumped in recent years, and financing tightened, pushing break-even rents higher. Smaller builders exit or pivot upscale to protect margins, leaving fewer mid-range starts. Energy efficiency mandates and retrofit rules add upfront costs that owners price into new leases. The result is a construction pipeline skewed toward premium segments, starving the middle where wage earners live. So the next pressure point is how current listings are managed and withheld. Active for sale listings in the big cities plunged heading into 2025. Madrid down about 25%, Valencia 24%, Palma and Barcelona around 21%. Scarcity doesn't need a secret pact, it's baked into the math. After tax, maintenance, and empty weeks, many prime rentals only net roughly 2.5 to 3.5% a year, while sale prices in good locations have been climbing 4 to 6%. If an owner believes the flat will gain as much or more just by sitting there and isn't sure what new rent rules might arrive, waiting or doing short flexible lets feels safer than locking in a long lease. This results in half-used or idle apartments perched above streets where a single person renting alone in the center is handing over 55 to 65% of take-home pay. National averages are lower, but these expensive pockets decide who gets to stay. Pressure stops being temporary. It hardens into the system. Once this becomes the normal, the knock-on effects stack up. People delay moving in together or having kids because getting a bigger place feels out of reach, so already low birth rates stay low. Local streets lose depth. The cafe, repair shop, or small music spot survives fewer slow weeks and then shutters, replaced by tourist-leaning or quick-turn outlets. Moving city for a better job stops making sense if the rent jump eats the raise, so careers stall or people leave the country. Owners quietly build wealth as prices and equity grow. Renters keep resetting each year, paying more and saving less. Historic centers still look lively, but beneath the buzz, there are fewer long-term neighbors, more facade, less rooted community. However, some inland and northern or western cities have had much milder rent rises, under about 25% since 2015, because demand is slower and there's more stock. A few small co-op or inclusionary projects are helping a little, but searches spilling out from Madrid, Barcelona, and the coast are climbing. That's the early wave before prices spread. These cooler zones are warning lights, not a proof the system is fixing itself. Getting cheaper often means paying in time. Skip a 30% rent jump in the center, and you might win a lower rent far out, then lose 70 to 80 minutes each way on 2 trains and a bus, plus ticket costs. Put a value on those lost hours, and your real housing cost barely improves. Tiredness builds. People think about leaving their jobs or the sector. Scale that across nurses, teachers, carers, emergency crews, and service capacity thins quietly. Policy has to cool rents without wiping out the paper wealth of small owners counting on one flat for retirement. Every simple tool kicks back. Rent caps can steady current tenants, but without more supply and bringing empty homes back, can shrink listings or push units to shortlets. Even buyer subsidies can lift prices faster than builders can react. Tourist rental limits in one district often just shift listings. Public housing takes years while families face hikes in months. One-off fixes are stress balls. Squeeze here, bulge there. Only a coordinated reset of incentives changes the path. And because coordination hasn't happened yet, the divide is no longer forming, it's here. Same streets, diverging futures. A city either keeps the people who power it or becomes an investment shell served by edge commuters. So the tools exist and the window is narrowing. Demand housing action, add your voice in the comments, and if this sharpened your view, like and subscribe for more.